I have so many women that come into my life who have no idea that they are at risk for heart attacks, strokes, and all kinds of cardiovascular issues. And it makes me kind of sad because they have people in their life that depend on them, and they're too busy taking care of everybody else to take care of themselves. And so I try to make it a point to say, hey, listen, you got to take care of yourself, keep yourself well, and so you can take care of the ones that you love. So today we're going to talk about the number one health threat for women. So let's get started. Hey friend, welcome to Holistic Health for Moms. I'm your host, Jennifer. If you're like me, you've tried all the diets, followed every wellness trend, and still felt stuck, exhausted, and frustrated. In this podcast, you'll find simple, sustainable habits, faith-filled encouragement, and real-life strategies to help you balance your hormones, restore energy, and of course, feel your best again without the overwhelm. So raise your hand and say present and accounted for, and let's get this party started. All right, real quick, if you have not yet, and you need help with meal planning, grocery shopping, ideas to get this week off on a good start, head over to jennifercoble.com/meal planning toolkit and grab my meal planning toolkit for absolutely free. It is the same process that I use every single week to keep my family on track, to have meals prepared, and try to be ahead of the game so I'm not overwhelmed and just chaotic in the afternoons when it's time for supper. So again, jennifercoble.com/meal planning toolkit to get your free meal planning toolkit. One of the reasons I started this podcast was because I didn't get enough time to talk with my patients and educate them. And so that's what I aim to do a lot on this podcast. And so since it is Heart Health Month, we are working on some heart health education. So 2 highlights that you need to know. Heart healthy lifestyle changes can help, and participating in screenings to know your risk. You need to know your risk. Okay? Many people that have heart disease do not even know it. And females don't know that it is the leading cause of death for females over breast cancer, over ovarian cancer, over, cervical cancer. And what's so scary, it is called the silent killer, because you don't know it's a problem until it's too late. So, do I have your attention yet? You have to know your risk. You have to take care of yourself in order to take care of others. You look at your babies, whether they're truly babies or whether they're 30 years old or older. You have to know your risk so you can know what to do to decrease your risk. Okay, so how do you know if you're at risk? Well, risk factors for heart disease in women include high cholesterol. Okay, that does apply to everyone. But a low level of your good cholesterol, your HDL, may be more dangerous for females than for males. Okay, low level of HDL. I know everybody says, oh, my cholesterol's high, it's bad. That's such a broad statement because we look at the HDL, which is your quote unquote good cholesterol. We want that to be higher. We get that higher by exercising. Okay? High cholesterol, first risk factor. Second risk factor, diabetes. Women with diabetes are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop heart disease than men with diabetes. And women, because we're special, could also develop gestational diabetes, which increases your overall lifetime risk of developing diabetes in general. So, we got like a double whammy there because even though we don't ask for it, sometimes people can't even believe they have gestational diabetes because they're not the picture of it, but it happens, and then it puts us at higher risk. So, second thing, diabetes. Third, high blood pressure. Women over 60 are more likely than men to have high blood pressure, but less likely to have it managed, which means less likely to have it under control. And why is that? Probably because we're prioritizing everybody else, over ourselves. You're prioritizing your kids or grandkids or husband over yourself. So, know your risk. Check your blood pressure. Next, something we cannot avoid, unfortunately, is menopause. Estrogen has gotten a bad rap in the past. However, estrogen helps reduce your risk of heart disease. And since we go through menopause, whether it's natural, just, we stop having our cycles, or if it's surgical because you have to have your ovaries removed for some reason, menopause causes your estrogen levels to drop. So then that puts you at higher risk of blood clots, high risk of hardening of your arteries, plaque buildup, and all of this can lead to heart attack and stroke. So again, this is not necessarily something that you can prevent. However, it is something to know, be aware that this can put you at risk if you are postmenopausal. And the last thing is obesity. We know we have an obesity epidemic, and it's part of our fast-paced go lifestyle. But having a BMI greater than 30, especially when you go through menopause, puts you at higher risk. You are also more likely to gain abdominal fat, which research has also linked to a higher risk for heart disease. And unfortunately, 2 in 3 women in the United States are obese. And it is more dangerous for females than for males, and it triples your risk for a heart attack. So it is super, super important to try to get that BMI down. So let's just go over these 5 risk factors: high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, if you've been through menopause, and obesity. So, these risk factors, but how do you know if you have diabetes? How do you know if you have high blood pressure? How do you know, what your BMI is? Well, ideally, you would be following up with your primary care provider to go over these things and to have your yearly screenings like mammograms and, your pap smears, and talk about colonoscopies. However, I understand that some people are very hesitant to go, whether it's insurance purposes or, you don't want to be in the waiting room with a, waiting room full of sick people. Like, I get that. So there are other ways for you to find out your risks, okay, or how high of a risk you have. And so you can actually go to a place or go to a website called Lifeline Screening, and they offer screenings to help you identify your risk factors for cardiovascular disease and other chronic diseases. And so they do things like blood tests, ultrasounds, EKGs. They do carotid artery scans to test for aortic aneurysms, atrial fibrillation tests, kidney screenings, A1C screenings, which is what tests you for diabetes. Like, so many screenings. And so you can actually sign up and find out if there is one close to you. There is a link in the show notes that you can go to, and you just click on that link and check out and see if there's any places near you. And even if you're not old enough to be concerned about this, or you don't feel like you're old enough, what about your mama? What about your aunt? What about the rest of your family? Let them know it's important to know their risk, because you could possibly help save their life. I know that sounds super dramatic, but you could. So encourage the women around you to take care of themselves and to know their risk, because February is, the heart health month. So do yourself a favor, check out that link in the show notes, and then share it with anyone you know so that they can find out their risk and change their life so they can live a longer, more vibrant life. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you again soon. Have a great day. Bye. We're officially friends. You made it through the whole episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, since we're friends now and sharing is caring, would you share this episode with someone you know who is also interested in learning more about natural solutions for more energy and weight loss? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It makes my heart smile to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, friend, hope you have a wonderful day. Gotta get back to that mom life. I'll meet you back here next week on Monday for another episode. Bye.